Now we're just under a month until the 2021 amateur draft on July 11th. The Mets will pick 10th, where they took Michael Conforto back in 2014 in that number 10 spot. Now, Joe, will preview the draft on our next episode a little more, but I know this is your favorite subject, so why don't you give us one or two names that Mets fans should start getting comfortable with as the draft gets closer?
Yeah, really excited about the MLB draft. It's something that I've followed for 15 plus years now. Just to me, it's a very unique event that is really starting to catch a little more attention. And hopefully it'll be catching more attention starting this year, where MLB has opted to move the draft from typically the first week of June into part of All-Star Week festivities. And at that point, it's going to go to Colorado where the All-Star game is. And I think you have an opportunity to make it much more of a TV event, much like the NFL draft. And as far as a couple names that I think Mets fans should keep their eyes on, I always look as far as how they're going to draft as history tends to repeat itself. And if you look at how the Mets have drafted since 2010, it's almost primarily college arms, high school bats, and then a couple examples of a couple college hitters as well, like you mentioned with Michael Conforto. And in my latest mock draft for SNY.TV, I gave them Sam Houston State's Colton with the 10th pick. And interestingly enough, MLB Pipeline actually drops a comparison of Brandon Nimmo. And then, of course, there is some college pitching. There's some rumors of Kumar, the ace from Vanderbilt, who was expected to be the number one pick coming into the spring, potentially sliding a little bit due to some inconsistencies with his velocity throughout the spring. He'd had some starts where he was throwing 90 to 92, and then other starts where he was 95 to 98. So it has a few teams concerned, but for me personally, if Kumar was able to find his way to number 10, I would hope the Mets would be quick to turn in that card.
The Mets are kind of in a unique position compared to where they've been in years past, where they're competing now for the playoffs. Do you think the Mets should be drafting with their eyes on someone who could potentially reach the majors within the next year or two, rather than a younger player who might take 4 or 5 years to reach the major leagues?
For me, no. I know obviously some Met fans are not going to like hearing that, but to me, I think the draft is all about looking for the long term. And some of the best teams that are winning, I mean, the Dodgers, for example, they win all the time. They draft high school kids left and right. They go for the upside. So for me, I do not prefer based on timeline to major leagues. Just give me the best talent that I could get. And if it turns out that it's a college player, awesome. That person will get to the big leagues quicker than a typical high school prospect. But I am unafraid to draft a high school prospect with the 10th pick if I feel that is the best player that I can draft at the spot.